I'm 62 years old, and it took me 40 years to learn something about marriage that could have saved my family. If someone had told me this when I was 25, my wife would still be with me today. My kids wouldn't have watched their family fall apart, and I wouldn't be sitting here alone wishing I could go back and do it all differently. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope 2026 treats you better than 2025 treated me. Before I share this lesson that cost me everything, tell me where you're watching from. Drop your city in the comments. Let me know I'm not alone. And hit that subscribe button. We're pushing to 10,000 subscribers before the end of January. This channel is about real men sharing real wisdom so you don't have to learn the hard way like I did. My name is Robert Mitchell. I'm 62 years old. I live in Richmond, Virginia, and I'm about to tell you the one thing I wish someone had taught me about marriage before it was too late. The lesson is simple, but learning it cost me my wife of 38 years. Let me tell you what happened. 6 months ago, my wife Margaret left me. After 38 years of marriage, we met when we were both 24, got married at 25, built a life together. 3 kids, nice house in the suburbs, good jobs, Sunday dinners, family vacations. From the outside, we looked perfect. But Margaret walked out on a Tuesday morning in July and never came back. She didn't take much, just her clothes, her photos, her grandmother's jewelry. Left a note on the kitchen counter. Robert, I can't do this anymore. I've been invisible for too long. I'm sorry, Margaret. I read that note 5 times, trying to understand what it meant. Invisible? How was she invisible? I gave her everything. A beautiful home, financial security, a comfortable life. What more could she want? So I called her. She was staying at her sister's house. Margaret, what's going on? What does your note mean? She was quiet for a long time. Then she said something I'll never forget. Robert, when's the last time you asked me how I was feeling? What? When's the last time you asked me about my day, my dreams, my fears? When's the last time you really saw me? I didn't have an answer. When's the last time we had a real conversation that wasn't about bills or the kids or house repairs? I still didn't have an answer. That's the problem, Robert. I've been screaming silently for years, and you never noticed. She hung up. I stood there in my kitchen holding the phone thinking she was being dramatic. We'd been married for 38 years. Of course I knew her. Of course I saw her. But over the next few weeks, I started thinking about what she said, and I realized something terrifying. She was right. Quick pause. If you're married or in a relationship right now, hit that subscribe button, because what I'm about to tell you could save your marriage before it's too late. We're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers this month. Back to the story. I tried to remember the last real conversation Margaret and I had. Not about groceries or schedules or whose turn it was to take out the trash. A real conversation where I asked her how she felt, what she was thinking, what she needed. I couldn't remember one. Not in the last year, maybe not in the last 5 years. I went through our text messages, hundreds of them. Can you pick up milk? Dinner at 6. Don't forget the dentist appointment. Did you pay the electric bill? All logistics, all tasks, all business. Where was the love? Where was the connection? I called my oldest son, David. He's 36, married for 8 years. Dad, I saw this coming, he said. What do you mean? Mom's been unhappy for years. We all saw it. Why didn't anyone tell me? We tried, Dad, but you were always too busy working, too focused on providing. You never just listened. My son, my own son, had noticed something I'd missed completely. I called my daughter Sarah. She's 33. Dad, I love you, but you and Mom haven't really been married for a long time. You've just been roommates managing a household. That's not true. When's the last time you went on a date with Mom? When's the last time you surprised her with flowers? When's the last time you told her she was beautiful? I couldn't answer. When's the last time you asked her about the book she was reading? Or the painting class she was taking? Or what she was struggling with? I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. Dad, you're a good provider. You've given us everything we needed materially. But Mom needed more than money and a nice house. She needed you. That conversation broke something inside me. I started looking back at our 38 years of marriage. The first 10 years were good. Great, even. We talked for hours. We laughed. We dreamed together. We'd stay up late discussing everything, from politics to what we'd name our future kids to what we'd do if we won the lottery. But somewhere along the way, we stopped. I got promoted at work, started working 60-hour weeks. Margaret took care of the kids while I climbed the corporate ladder. I thought I was being a good husband, a good father, providing, protecting, building a secure future. But while I was building financial security, I was destroying emotional intimacy, and I didn't even notice. I tried to think of the last time I'd asked Margaret about her life, her actual life, not just the parts that affected me or the kids. I couldn't remember. I knew she'd started taking painting classes 2 years ago, but I'd never asked to see her paintings, never asked what she was working on, never asked why she chose painting or what it meant to her. I knew she'd been reading a lot, but I never asked what books, never asked what she was learning or thinking about. I just didn't ask, because I was tired when I got home, because I had work emails to answer, because the lawn needed mowing and the sink was leaking, and there were always 1,000 practical things to do. And somewhere in all those practical things, I forgot about the person I'd promised to love and cherish. I called Margaret again. "I want to understand," I said. "Help me understand what I did wrong." She sighed. "Robert, you didn't do anything wrong exactly. You just stopped being present. You stopped seeing me as a person with feelings and dreams and fears. You started seeing me as the woman who manages the household and makes sure everyone's fed. I didn't mean to. I know you didn't. But it happened anyway. And over the years, I became more and more lonely. Even though I was sharing a house with you, even though we were raising kids together, I felt completely alone. Why didn't you tell me?" "I did, Robert. So many times. But you weren't listening." I thought back, tried to remember. And then it hit me. She had told me. 2 years ago, she'd said, "I feel like we never talk anymore." And I'd said, "We're talking right now." Then went back to watching TV. A year ago, she'd said, "Do you even know what's going on in my life?" And I'd said, "Of course I do. You're busy with the house and the kids." Then changed the subject to my problems at work. 6 months ago, she'd said, "I'm not happy." And I'd said, "What do you mean?" "We have a great life." Then dismissed her feelings because they didn't make sense to me. She'd been trying to tell me for years, and I'd been too blind, too busy, too focused on everything else to hear her. "Margaret, I want to fix this," I said. "Tell me what to do." "It's too late, Robert." "It's not too late. We can go to counseling. I don't want to go to counseling. I don't want to fix this. I'm tired, Robert. I'm 62 years old and I've spent the last 20 years feeling invisible in my own marriage. I don't want to spend whatever years I have left feeling that way." "So you're just giving up?" "I'm not giving up. I'm choosing myself. For the first time in decades, I'm choosing what I need. And what you need is to leave me. What I need is to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel like I matter to someone. And I can't get that from you because you don't know how to give it." That hurt. But it was true. I didn't know how to give her what she needed because no one had ever taught me. My father was the same way with my mother. He worked hard, provided well, but he never talked to her, never asked how she felt, never connected emotionally. And I'd learned from him. I'd learned that being a good husband meant working hard and paying the bills. I'd learned that love was about sacrifice and responsibility, but I never learned that love was also about presence, about truly seeing your partner, about asking questions and listening to answers, about emotional intimacy, not just physical proximity. And by the time I realized what I'd been missing, it was too late. After Margaret left, I did something I should have done years ago. I started reading about marriage, about relationships, about what women actually need from their husbands. And I found something that changed everything. It's called emotional attunement. Basically, it means being present with your partner, really present, not just physically in the same room, but emotionally connected, paying attention, asking questions, listening with your full attention, seeing your partner as a whole person with an inner life that's just as complex and important as your own. It sounds simple, But it's the thing most men, including me, never learn. We learn to be providers. We learn to be fixers. We learn to be protectors. But we don't learn to be emotionally present. I read a book that said the #1 complaint women have in long-term marriages is this: my husband doesn't really see me anymore. Not see physically, but see as a person. Ask about her thoughts, her feelings, her dreams, her struggles. Make her feel like she matters beyond what she does for the family. And I realized that's exactly what Margaret had been telling me for years. I just hadn't understood because I'd never learned that language. I called a marriage counselor, not to save my marriage. Margaret had made it clear she was done, but to understand what I'd done wrong, so I wouldn't make the same mistake if I ever got another chance with someone. The counselor, Dr. Patricia Stevens, listened to my whole story. Then she said something that broke me. Robert, most men don't realize this until it's too late. You were taught that love is about doing, providing, fixing, protecting, and those things matter. But women need emotional presence even more than they need those practical things. They need to feel seen, heard, and valued for who they are, not just what they do. Why doesn't anyone teach men this? I asked. Because most men learn about marriage from their fathers, and most fathers learned from their fathers. And generations of men have been raised, thinking that a good husband is someone who works hard and pays the bills. The emotional stuff gets left to women. So we're all just repeating the same mistakes, pretty much, until something breaks, until your wife leaves, or has an affair, or becomes so depressed she can barely function. Then you wake up and realize you've been missing the most important part. I thought about my own father. He'd been married to my mother for 45 years when he died, but I don't remember ever seeing them have a real conversation. He came home from work, ate dinner, watched TV, went to bed. She took care of the house and the kids. They coexisted. But did they really know each other? Did my father know what my mother's dreams were? What scared her? What made her happy beyond a clean house and well-fed children? I don't think he did. And I'd done the exact same thing with Margaret. Quick pause here. If you're feeling convicted right now, if you're realizing you might be making the same mistake hit that like button and subscribe. We're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers this month. This lesson could save your marriage. Back to what I learned. Dr. Stevens gave me homework. I want you to write down everything you know about Margaret, her inner life. Not facts like her birthday or favorite color, deep things. What are her dreams? What are her fears? What does she think about when she's alone? What makes her feel alive? I sat down with a blank piece of paper, and I couldn't fill it out. After 38 years of marriage, I didn't know these things about the woman I'd shared a bed with for nearly 4 decades. I knew she liked her coffee with cream and 2 sugars. I knew she preferred mysteries over romance novels. I knew she was allergic to shellfish, but I didn't know what she dreamed about, what kept her up at night, what she wanted out of the rest of her life. This is exactly the problem, Dr. Stevens said when I showed her the mostly blank page. You know Margaret as your wife, the role she plays, but you don't know Margaret as a person. How do I fix that? You can't. Not with Margaret. She's moved on. But you can learn the lesson for next time. If there is a next time, what's the lesson? The lesson is this. Your partner is not a role. She's not just the wife or the mother or the homemaker. She's a complete human being with thoughts and feelings and dreams that have nothing to do with you or the kids or the house. And if you want a marriage that lasts, really lasts, you have to remember that. Every single day. How? By asking questions, by listening, by being curious about who she is and who she's becoming. People change. Your wife at 62 is not the same person as your wife at 25. But did you bother to get to know the new version? Or did you just assume she was the same? I assumed she was the same, and that was my biggest mistake. I thought because we'd been married for so long, I knew her. But I didn't, because I'd stopped asking questions, stopped being curious, stopped seeing her as a person who was growing and changing and becoming someone new. I'd frozen her in time as the woman I married at 25. And when she tried to show me she'd changed, I didn't notice. Or worse, I ignored it because it was inconvenient. 3 years ago, Margaret told me she wanted to go back to school, get a degree in art history. I said, why? You don't need a degree. We're fine financially. I dismissed her dream because I didn't understand it. It wasn't practical, it wasn't necessary. So I figured it wasn't important. But to her, it was everything. It was about becoming more than just Robert's wife or the kid's mom. It was about having her own identity, her own passion, her own purpose. And I shut it down without even realizing what I was doing. 2 years ago, Margaret wanted to take a trip to Italy, just the two of us. I said, maybe next year. I'm too busy with work right now. Next year never came. She'd been asking for connection, for time together, for me to see her as a person worth prioritizing. And I'd chosen work instead, over and over and over again. Until one day she stopped asking, and I thought that meant everything was fine. But it didn't mean everything was fine. It meant she'd given up. That's what I didn't understand until it was too late. When someone stops complaining, it doesn't mean they're happy. It means they've accepted that things won't change, and they're making plans to leave. I started meeting with Dr. Stevens once a week, not to get Margaret back, but to understand what I'd missed, to learn the lessons I should have learned 40 years ago. The problem, Dr. Stevens explained, is that men are taught that love is about doing. You do things for your wife. You work hard. You fix things around the house. You provide financial security, and all of that matters. But women need something more. What? They need to be known, really known. They need their husbands to be curious about them, to ask questions, to listen without trying to fix everything, to see them as whole, complex human beings. I thought I did that. Did you? Tell me about a recent conversation you had with Margaret where you asked about her inner world. I thought hard. I don't remember one. Exactly. You talked at her. You talked about practical things, but you didn't talk with her about things that mattered to her soul. Soul, that's the word that got me. When's the last time I'd asked Margaret about her soul? What fed it? What drained it? What she longed for? Never. I'd never asked, because I didn't think it mattered. I thought as long as the bills were paid, and the house was nice and the kids were taken care of, that was enough. But it wasn't. Dr. Stevens gave me a list of questions. These are questions you should have been asking Margaret regularly throughout your marriage. But since you can't ask her now, I want you to think about them. Really think about them. Here's the list. 1. What's making you happy right now? 2. What's worrying you? 3. What are you proud of lately? 4. What do you wish was different in your life? 5. What dream have you given up on that you wish you could pursue? 6. How can I support you better? 7. What do you need from me emotionally right now? Simple questions, but I'd never asked Margaret a single one of them, not in the last 20 years anyway. I'd ask, how was your day? But I didn't really listen to the answer. I'd ask, what's for dinner? But I never asked, how are you feeling? I'd ask, did you pay the water bill? But I never asked, what are you dreaming about lately? All logistics, no depth. And over 20 years, that lack of depth had created a canyon between us. A canyon so wide that by the time I noticed it, it was too late to cross. Quick pause. If you've never asked your wife these questions, if you realize right now that you've been making the same mistake, hit that subscribe button. Learn from my failure. Don't wait 40 years like I did. We're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers this month. Back to the lesson. I called my son David again. David, I need to ask you something. Do you make the same mistakes with your wife that I made with your mom? He was quiet. Sometimes. Yeah. I catch myself getting too focused on work, too focused on fixing problems, and not focused enough on just being present with her. How do you fix it? I have a reminder on my phone. Every day at 6 p.m. my phone buzzes and it says, ask Katie how she's really doing. And when I get home, I put my phone away. I sit with her. I ask her about her day. And I actually listen. Not just wait for my turn to talk. I really listen. Does it work? Yeah, Dad, it does. Katie tells me all the time that she feels seen by me. That she feels like I care about her inner world, not just the tasks she completes. My son had learned the lesson I'd missed, and his marriage was thriving because of it. I called my daughter Sarah. Sarah, does your husband do this? Does he ask you how you're really doing? All the time, Dad. That's why we're happy. He doesn't just see me as his wife or the mother of his kids. He sees me as Sarah, a person with thoughts and feelings and dreams. He asks me about my writing. He wants to know what I'm thinking about. He makes me feel like I matter. Both my kids had figured it out, but I hadn't. I'd stayed stuck in the pattern my father taught me, and it cost me everything. 3 months after Margaret left, I ran into her at the grocery store. She looked different, lighter somehow, happier. Margaret. Robert, how are you? I'm managing. You look good. I feel good. I'm taking that art history class I always wanted. And I joined a book club. And I'm traveling. I went to Italy last month. Italy. The trip she'd asked me to take with her 2 years ago. The trip I'd said we'd take next year. She'd gone without me. And she looked happier than I'd seen her in years. I'm glad you're doing well, I said. And I meant it. Even though it hurt. Robert, I don't hate you. I want you to know that. You're not a bad person. You never learned how to really see me. And I couldn't spend the rest of my life being invisible. I know, I get it now. Too late, but I get it. She touched my arm, gently. I hope you find someone who you can do better with. Someone you'll remember to stay curious about. Then she left, and I stood there in the grocery store aisle crying, because I'd lost the love of my life. Not because I cheated, not because I was cruel, but because I stopped paying attention. I stopped being curious. I stopped seeing her as a person worthy of my full presence and attention. And by the time I realized it, she was gone. I'm 62 years old now. Margaret and I have been divorced for 4 months. She's living her best life, and I'm alone in a house that's too big for one person, learning lessons I should have learned 40 years ago. But I'm not telling you this story so you'll feel sorry for me. I'm telling you this story so you won't make the same mistake. Here's what I learned. Here's what took me 40 years to figure out. Here's what I wish someone had told me when I was 25. Lesson number 1, your partner is not a role. She's a person. She's not just the wife or the mom or the one who handles dinner. She's a complete human being with thoughts, feelings, dreams, and fears that have nothing to do with you or the kids or the house. And if you want a real marriage, one that lasts and thrives, you have to remember that every single day. You have to stay curious about who she is. Not who she was when you met her, but who she's becoming. Because people change, and if you're not paying attention, you'll wake up one day married to a stranger. Lesson number 2, how was your day? Is not enough. Most men think they're being good husbands by asking, how was your day? But that's surface level. That's logistics. You need to go deeper. Ask, what made you happy today? What's on your mind? What are you worried about? What are you excited about? How are you really doing? And then, this is the important part. Listen. Don't interrupt. Don't try to fix it. Don't offer solutions unless she asks. Just listen. Be present. Let her feel heard. Lesson number 3. Silence doesn't mean everything is fine. This was my biggest mistake. Margaret stopped complaining. She stopped asking me for things. She stopped telling me she was unhappy, and I thought that meant she was fine. But it didn't. It meant she'd given up. When someone stops fighting for your attention, it doesn't mean they don't need it anymore. It means they've accepted they're not going to get it, and they're making plans to leave. Lesson number 4. Practical provision is not the same as emotional presence. I worked my ass off for 38 years. I paid the mortgage. I funded the retirement accounts. I made sure the bills were paid and the house was nice. And all of that mattered. But it wasn't enough. Because Margaret didn't just need a provider. She needed a partner. Someone who saw her, who asked about her dreams, who made her feel valued beyond what she did for the family. And I didn't give her that. I thought the money and the nice house were enough. But they weren't. Lesson number 5. Connection requires time and attention. You can't connect with your partner in the leftover moments, after you've given your best energy to work, to the kids, to your hobbies. You have to prioritize her. Put down your phone. Turn off the TV. Make eye contact. Ask questions. Be fully present. Even if it's just for 20 minutes a day, that's what she needs. not the fancy vacations or the expensive gifts. She needs you, your attention, your presence, your curiosity about who she is and who she's becoming. Lesson 6. It's never too late to start, unless you wait until it is too late. I waited too long. By the time I figured this out, Margaret had already checked out emotionally. She'd been trying to tell me for years, but I didn't listen. And when I finally woke up, she was done. Don't let that happen to you. If you're married right now, put down your phone after you watch this video. Go find your wife. Ask her one of those questions I mentioned earlier, and really listen to her answer. Start today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Because you don't know how much time you have left before she gives up. So let me ask you this. When's the last time you asked your wife how she's really doing? Not about dinner or the kids or bills, but about her soul, her dreams, her fears. If you can't remember, you're making the same mistake I made. What would you ask your partner right now if you were paying attention? Drop your answers in the comments. Let's help each other learn this lesson before it's too late. And before you go, hit that like button. If this story made you realize something about your own marriage, subscribe to this channel. We're pushing to reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of January 2026. This channel is about real men learning real lessons so we can do better. Comment "I'm listening now" if you're committed to asking your partner better questions starting today. I'm 62 years old. I lost the love of my life because I stopped paying attention. I stopped being curious. I stopped seeing her as a person. And by the time I realized it, she was gone. Don't make my mistake. Don't wait 40 years to learn what I'm telling you right now. Your wife doesn't just need a provider. She needs to be seen. She needs to be heard. She needs to matter to you beyond what she does for the family. Give her that, starting today, before it's too late. This is Voice of Dad Marcus, where every father's story matters, where men learn from each other's mistakes, where we do better because someone had the courage to share what went wrong. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Now go ask your wife how she's really doing and actually listen to the answer. Happy New Year. Make 2026 the year you save your marriage before it's too late.